so we know what's around it must be a ground as well. So it's something to realize that without over-intellectualizing looking at an image, we do make strong associations. This one we clearly understand where the ground is and the trees, you know, the trees being vertical, the buildings being vertical, and we understand this one much more clearly. It's more obvious. But even though this one may be less obvious, I don't think anyone doubts what's happened. We fill in with our knowledge almost automatically. And it's something to remember that you don't always have to tell us everything. Somehow our visual sensibility is filled, I don't know the right way to talk about it, but our prior memories, our prior visual memory fills in a lot of information for us when we look at something on a flat piece of paper. Because remember, these are all flat. None of these are space. But, you know, here they're much more specifically detailed as spaces. This one less, but we still see the space, I think, equally, for me anyway. Yeah, I find this one pretty interesting. Also, just like those dabs of red on the greenish blue walkway, they're marks, but they're leaves, you know, or it's just flat, you know, it can be read in so many different ways. Anyone else have comments? We talked about this one before.
Yes.
It's very beautiful, very lush.
thank you.
There's something very rich about this, even though the paint is actually all sort of scrubbed. So the physical paint isn't that lush in its physicality. But so it's also something to remember. You don't necessarily have to have a lot of paint for us to have that feeling of lush quality. It's the relationships of the colors against each other, I think, that are so important. Anyone have other comments?
Well, the volumes are so good too.
In this one?
Yeah, the shapes are really nice.
But done rather simply, I mean, it's not a simple composition, but each form is really sort of with the red, mostly, I think, like less color, more than anything else in terms of suggesting the volumes and scrubbing it.
Even the composition is interesting.
Yeah, because it isn't traditional kind of. It's maybe a traditional subject matter, but the composition is.
Well, it's about overabundance as opposed to still life
scarcity.
Somehow. And also there's something about it being in a square, and then it's playing two circles against each other, but there's also two diagonals. So it's filled with stuff which we travel this way on the stuff because of the colors shifting. But if you look at the arrangements of the shapes, you have diagonal of two bowls this way, diagonal of the rest of the fruits and vegetables there. But then he has a diagonal line coming from the corner in that way. So there's a lot of complexity in terms of the energy.
And it's like an aerial view.
Yes.
Which also completely, though some parts of it don't seem like they're from above. Like the basket or the bowl on the left almost feels like you're looking more directly at it.
It tips a little bit.
Yeah.
Which is lower.
I think makes it more abundant, right?
Yeah. I mean, we are seeing down into everything. I'm not sure if the perspective is exactly correct, one to the next, but it doesn't. To me, that's part of the energy of it. Maybe everything's tumbling a bit.
Right.
So that's part of how it's done. I think it's very strong. And again, those diagonals that way, but then you have, I don't know, it's radishes or whatever, carrots, the white, going diagonal the other way. So there's a lot of really nice plays and movements. And this was also a photograph?
Yes, from Instagram.
From Instagram?
Yes. This is why it's square.
Okay. So I think they're very exciting, and
Thank you.
You know, you pick up any medium and you seem to do something quite nice,
Oh, thank you.
which is exciting. So I hope you'll continue next semester. There'll be more people working color around you if you can stick with this.
Okay.
And so let's look at things 3, oil paintings. So the middle one was done, is